You said something that kind of makes me ponder. I mean, in my perspective, the introduction of the iPhone, the rise of cloud services like AWS, those took off. I think the iPhone was introduced in '07. That was right at also when the GPL v3 was created. The Affero, I think, came in '08 as licenses to attempt to address things like cloud services in this different model. And those licenses haven't really caught on, except in the interesting case of trying to create an arduous commercial unfriendly license that would then be push organizations into a commercial license, right? I mean, do you think that was a success in what it was doing, or do you think it's, maybe talk a little bit about why you think it did or didn't get the uptake that folks were expecting as that GPL evolved from 2 to 3? And similarly, I mean, you're in the interesting place of, again, trying to build governance and structure around the AI models, the inbound tools, the outbound tools. And of course the data. So maybe tell us a bit about your perspectives there and how you're trying to navigate that with AI.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I think that at the time there has been way too much. There have been too much finger wagging and not enough listening. I think because copyleft, I think is a very important tool, and for preservation of the rights of the users. Mm-hmm. And I think that what's been happening, what happened in the past, that fortunately there was no one really redefining the concept of users as the new users were being added. As the internet exploded, as mobile phones started to become popular and going in everyone's pocket, the concept of user that Richard Stallman initially had was not the same. It started to change, and I don't think that there's been much of thinking and evolving to clarify what the concept of copyleft needed to become. I think also that there was a very strong antagonistic position between the Free Software Foundation and a lot of the corporations that were popularizing a lot of their code, and that has not aged well. Like you were saying, the copyleft, the only answer to copyleft, the copyleft answer to cloud and mobile has been the Affero GPL, which is a license that is extremely complicated. Google adamantly refused. The VCs who are a part of this movement, are part of this ecosystem. You can't deny that, for as much as so many people don't like them, but they are part of it. And they have been reluctant to adopt it, or they never really understood it. Like, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened if the Free Software Foundation went on a tour to explain in Silicon Valley, to explain what the GPL does, what copyleft means, what kind of business models you can enable with GPL and the copyleft concepts, what the Affero GPL intention is. If they went on a tour, maybe on a listening tour, if not an explanation tour, maybe things would have been different, and not the default would not be Apache, just because it's easy to understand, and IBM uses it, so no one's been ever fired for picking IBM anyway.
Do you have experience working with a company, like just looking at the other side, like a company having to understand either GPL or any other license in the open source space, and just like both in terms of how to use software and contribute back with the different licenses, as well as maybe if they are open sourcing a project, like how to choose a license for it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been I've been doing those, having those conversations before, but I have worked at the company that was very popular during the before the iPhone came out. The company is called Funambul, and with Funambul, the code was always available under initially a GPL license, GPL v3, GPL v2, and then when the GPL v3 came out and the Affero GPL came out, then the CEO, and we had this conversation, he immediately went for the Affero because it fit perfectly his purpose. The company was structured in a very clean with a very clean separation between community users and paying users. Community users were using the exact same code that the enterprise users were using. Simply, the enterprise users were just telecoms, and no telecom will ever. I mean, at the time, they just wanted to have a company behind them, a support contract, and strong SLAs and all of that fun stuff. So there was a very clear separation. The sales team was not going after the users on the forum. They were not interested. They just had a very precise target. And the Affero GPL v3 allowed for protection of all the copyright, forced every contribution to come back. They had no issue with Funambul had no issues with free riders or any of that. Actually, the let's call them free riders. They were they were supporting the brand, make it the project more popular. The software was also modular, so it allowed for integrations with other. The software was synchronizing contacts and calendars and pictures and email across multiple devices. So if you had a Nokia and a BlackBerry and an Ericsson phone, you could share the same contacts also on the desktop too. It was magic, right? With push notification too. It was just fantastic, and the integrations also made it so that it was super popular.